Hey beautiful souls. Are you ready for a journey that will shatter your heart before it pieces it back together? From the depths of cruelty to the heights of redemption. Tonight, we're diving deep into a world where the moon goddess weaves destinies, where childhood torment shapes futures, and where sometimes the mate bond connects two souls who seem impossibly broken. I need you to buckle up because we're about to meet Sophia Hartwell, a young woman whose life has been nothing but pain, but whose spirit refuses to break. Here's what I want you to remember as we begin. Sometimes the people who hurt us most are the ones fighting their own demons. Sometimes love requires more than a bond, it requires transformation. Are you with me? Then let's step into the Silverwood Pack territory, into an attic room where a girl dreams of escape, on the morning that will change everything. He was the alpha of one of the strongest packs across the world. Everybody was afraid of him and curious to know who was his mate. But there was a secret his pack was hiding about him and his mate. She was the only girl in front of whom he would go down on his knees and beg her to be with him. The only girl for whom he cried his heart out every night. He yearned for her touch, her voice, her smile. That person was none other than his mate, his Luna, his love. Only one problem: she had run away with an intention to never come back, and it was all because of him. Will he ever find her, and will she ever forgive him? This is a story about Alpha Marcus and his Luna, Sophia. He suddenly sniffed the air around him and I just knew he had found out. He suddenly yelled, "Mine?" while looking at me. I turned away and ran from him, the person I hated the most, the devil who ruined my life. Run. Neither me nor my wolf care about him. He is a monster. Tears were in my eyes even while thinking about him. He loudly growled my name, commanding me to stop, but I just ran faster with only one thought in my head. Run, never come back. I don't care about that devil, even if he was my mate. The alarm in my room started ringing, and my reflexes stopped it within seconds. If anyone woke up because of it, I knew I would receive a beating today. It was 5 a.m. and I woke up before everyone else to make their breakfast. I put on my clothes, or what I should call almost rags. My life was awful. My parents had died when I was 2 years old. My father was one of the best pack warriors, but his mate was a human. Although my pack did not like humans, they still allowed my mother to come in, as they could not risk losing their best warrior. They reluctantly allowed her in and showed indifference towards her, but still she was happy with my father. Shortly after they met, they had me, and their happiness knew no bounds. Everything was fine and beautiful. But one night when they were taking a walk with me, suddenly out of nowhere rogues attacked our territory. My dad tackled them bravely and killed most of them, but one of them was too strong and killed him. Even if my mom was a human, she tried to save me and put up a brave fight, but she was attacked as well. By that time, many other pack members arrived and the rogues were killed, but both my parents died in the attack. I was too shocked at that tiny age to remember everything, but still in my dreams I got glimpses and flashes of that scene, the attack, the blood, the screaming. A tear escaped my eye even remembering that. Ever since they died, the pack found a way of blaming me for their deaths. No matter what I did, it disgusted them. They hated me because most of them assumed I was human, as my mom was one. Whenever a werewolf and a human mate, there are even chances of their children being human or werewolf. But I knew that even if I was a werewolf, I would still be treated as a pack mate, worse than an omega, despite being a warrior's daughter. I sighed. My life sucked. But despite all the bad things, I was still allowed to go to school. I loved it and thought it would be my escape route to a college and a better life. So I studied hard, pulling all-nighters for hours together despite all the bullying, and graduated a year early. I thought of applying to colleges, but the pack did not allow me. They forced me to become a pack mate and work for them. So here I was, almost a year later, cooking in the pack kitchen. I was going to turn 18, and at that age they would find out if I was human or werewolf and if I had a mate. The thought scared me. I would rather be a mate here than be forcefully mated to someone in this pack. My birthday was in 2 weeks, and I had decided to mask my scent so that my mate or anyone else would not be able to smell me. I completed making the breakfast and started hearing footsteps in the kitchen. It was the Omegas who had come in to take the breakfast out. I sighed. The alpha of this pack, as well as the Luna, treated me with indifference. It was like they didn't even know about my existence. It was their son who I feared the most. Ever since my preschool he bullied me, and it got worse over the years. I feared him, even his presence. He knew that and seemed to enjoy that fact. I walked into the living room of the pack house. Today the Alpha and Luna were not there for breakfast. It was only their son and his friends, as most of the important pack members were having an early meeting. I couldn't care less about it. As I walked ahead, I faced him. He was sitting at the dining table with his pack by his side. Gross. I felt his eyes on me and I walked fast, almost ran, to the attic upstairs which was allotted to me as a room. The man I feared the most, soon to be Alpha Marcus. I sat in my room thinking about my life. My stomach was yearning for food, but I knew I couldn't have any as I was not allowed to. I was only allowed one meal per day, and that was the leftovers after the pack had their dinner. I was barely living off scraps. If only I could run away. But then where would I go? I would become a rogue, and any pack I went to would just ship me off over here, as this pack would send word out about a missing pack member. I literally sobbed at the fact that I had no one. Suddenly I heard banging on the door. I quickly wiped my tears and opened it. Standing in front of me was my nightmare, Alpha Marcus. He opened his mouth and said, "How many times have I told you to not lock the door? This is the second mistake you have done this morning." I just stuttered, "What was the first one, sir?" "You put more salt in the breakfast," he said in a threatening voice. Suddenly he forcefully grabbed my hand and yelled, "You did that on purpose, didn't you? You wanted to ruin my breakfast. Apparently it seems you find joy in ruining other people's day. I'm going to teach you a lesson today." "And I also noticed that someone nibbled a little bit of chicken they had made for others without permission," he said in a dark voice. "You are so disgusting," he said with hate evident in his voice. I didn't even know why he hated me so much. What had I done? "Victoria, lock her in her room. Tell her not to come out. I don't wish to see her ugly face," he said while leaving the room. As soon as he left, Victoria had a wicked smile on her face and said, "How about I teach you a lesson myself?" She started dragging me towards the torture room. "He did not tell you to harm her, Victoria." "Stop," someone said. "Oh, shut up. As the future Luna of this pack, I can do whatever I want," she yelled. She opened the room and threw me against the wall. My vision was blurring. The last thing I remembered was her laughing and grabbing a silver weapon before my eyes closed. My head was literally pounding. I slowly opened my eyes but squeezed them shut when a blinding white light fell on them. I again opened them, adjusting myself to the light. "Oh, you are finally awake," I heard a woman's voice saying. I looked around and saw an elderly lady walking towards me. She came up to me and asked, "How are you feeling now? Does it hurt anywhere?" I shook my head. There was a slight pain in my head and a bit in my body, but I was used to it. It was always there, maybe because of the usual beatings or the lack of nutrition. "Who are you?" I asked in a hoarse voice. She smiled at me and replied, "Well, dear, I am the pack doctor, the new one. I was in another pack but later was called over here to assist." She wasn't here for long. That explained why she was so nice to me. But I knew soon enough she would be influenced by the pack and would treat me the same. "How long have I been out?" I asked. "About a week and 3 days," she said. She had a worried look on her face and said further, "I think it took so much time for you to wake up because you were also severely malnourished, sweetie. What happened? Why is your condition so deteriorated?" I did not reply anything. This was because of the pack. I wanted to yell and scream. Tears of frustration began forming in my eyes. The pack doctor then looked at me and said, "It's all right if you don't want to tell me." I just looked at her and asked, "Why are you so nice to me?" I knew it was a weird question, but whatever she did was new to me, the affection, love, sympathy, everything. She laughed and said, "Well, sweetie, isn't it basic manners, being nice to everyone? Besides that, I have a daughter your age. She found her mate in our old pack, so she stayed there. Oh well, I forgot to tell you, the Alpha inquired about you yesterday. He said he wants you back in normal state as soon as possible. But you don't seem fine to me. It feels you really need more nutrition. I can tell the Alpha you need more rest." I smiled. She really was a nice lady, a kind-hearted soul. I didn't want her facing the anger of the pack. To them, I was nothing more than a disgusting pack mate. Me having a good rest? A big no-no. I shook my head and asked her, "Doctor, am I good to go?" "Yes, you technically are, but honey, you need." I cut her off by saying, "It's all right. I will leave. I need to thank you so much, ma'am, for taking care of me. It was my duty, sweetheart. And I also told you that I have a daughter your age. I see her in you. In fact, all the girls your age, drop by my house someday. I always bake peanut butter cookies and a few of my signature dishes every once a week and distribute among the pack. You can come taste them too," she said while giving me the biggest smile. I really wanted to hug her. A motherly love and affection radiated from her. It was the first time someone was so nice to me. She even gave me some vitamin pills so I could take them. I said my goodbyes and left the hospital to go back to the hell which is called the pack house. When I opened the door, I saw Victoria sitting with her friends on the couch. Victoria always annoyed the hell out of me. She had convinced herself that she was the future Luna of this pack, as she was the beta's daughter. Gross. She and Marcus would make a great pair. Both were beautiful angels on the outside and ugly monsters on the inside. She saw me and immediately said, "Oh, look who has arrived." The drama queen could not even handle a little extra work. "Do you even know how much trouble we had after you left? Well, anyways, go into the kitchen right now and make dinner for the pack. It better be ready at 8 and good in taste or you know the consequences." I felt like answering her back, but at that moment Marcus entered the hallway along with his friends. Seeing him, fear crawled in my skin and I sprinted into the kitchen. I felt tears in my eyes just at the thought of this future alpha. What will happen when he becomes the official alpha of this pack? Or worse, what will my life become? I started cooking dinner. While cooking, I had silent tears coming out of my eyes. This was not what I wanted from my life. In our pack, even the Omegas were trained and given a better life. Then why was I the only one to be treated like this? I had not called the rogues. I did not want my parents to die. I was not responsible for anything. They did not even know that I was a werewolf or human. But keeping my thoughts aside, I focused on making the dinner. When I finished making it, I gave it to the Omegas to take it outside. I went out of the kitchen and saw the pack at the dining table talking with each other as the Omegas served them dinner. I sprinted towards the attic and closed the door, careful enough to not lock it like last time. I just sat silently on my bed and took out a picture. It was of my family. I looked at it and saw my parents holding me. We all were smiling towards the camera. We all looked so happy, just like a perfect family. What would they think about me being treated this way? I cried and looked out of the window. I don't know how long I sat there, but when I looked at the watch, it was already 10 p.m. I got out of the attic and went towards the kitchen to wash the dishes. I entered the kitchen and saw the leftovers, a little bit of rice, some chicken, and a bit of salad. That was my dinner. I silently ate it and started washing the dishes. Once I was done, I started leaving, but I suddenly remembered the vitamins that the pack doctor gave me. I removed one pill out of the bottle and poured myself a glass of water. I took the pill and kept the glass down. I started walking towards the attic when suddenly I bumped into something. Oh my God, it was Marcus and his gang. My eyes widened in fear and stuttering my apologies, I ran towards the attic. I went inside my so-called room and tried closing the door when suddenly someone pushed it open. As expected, it was Marcus, and beside him stood Victoria. Victoria yelled, "Hey loser, do you even know that the glass you drank water from is only used by the high-ranking officials of the pack? Do you even have any sense? I apologize. Please leave me alone. I will not do it again, please." Everyone laughed at the way I spoke the words. Suddenly their eyes went on the photo frame of my family lying on the bed. Victoria went and grabbed it. She suddenly said, "Well, you need to get a punishment for what you have, right? How about we take this away, huh?" I started crying and replied, "No, please don't do that. The frame was handmade by my mom. It is too precious. I swear I will not do the mistake again. Please just leave me alone, please." I cried out. "Oh, so it was handmade by that filthy human who gave birth to you? Marcus, I think we exactly know what to do with this," she said, handing it over to him. "Oh yes, we do," he said and took it from her hand. He threw it on the ground and crushed it with his feet. I did not even make a sound. My mom and dad's photo, he simply reduced a sentimental thing to nothing. Tears could not stop coming out of my eyes. They all just laughed like beasts and told me that I had learned my lesson and left. I quickly picked up that photo. The frame was destroyed, but I picked up its pieces and kept it on an old table. It was now 3 days remaining for my birthday. I wiped my tears and anger blazed through my soul. This pack could not have treated me worse. Destroying my mom's frame was the last straw. I'm going to leave now. I don't care if I am a rogue or what happens to me, but I will definitely not stay here in this hell. But I knew they would not let me leave easily. They wanted to make me suffer as much as possible. So I needed a proper plan. But before that, I had to find out if I was a werewolf or not, and if I had somewhere to go to. I was definitely going to mask my scent if I was a werewolf. The wolves in my pack had that quality. It was a gift by the moon goddess to our pack. No other pack in the world could do that. But you lose it as soon as you become a rogue. But I was masking my scent if I was a werewolf in case I had a mate in this pack. I could not live in this hellhole further, nor did I want a mate belonging in this pack. I stood at the small window in my room and decided, on my 18th birthday I am going forever. I started working on my plan the next day. I made breakfast and started thinking of ways I could get out of here. After the breakfast, I cleaned the dishes and started working on the lunch a little bit early. Usually after lunch I always had a bit of free time, about 3 or 4 hours, where no one bothered me as they were all busy training or doing pack work. After washing the dishes, I looked at the clock and saw it was about 1:30 p.m. I stepped out of the pack house. I started walking quickly and I knew where I wanted to go. My parents' house, or to be more accurate, where I used to live before the rogue attack. I thought about finding out more about my origins. The house was not occupied by anyone and just left the way it was as a tribute by the pack to its warrior. And on the other hand, they treated his daughter like garbage. Pathetic. I sighed and kept walking. There was a sack. If I found something that was valuable, then I would put it in there. I snuck into the house. It was a 2-story house with 4 rooms. The kitchen had a fridge on which there were drawings made by me attached with magnets. I saw a swing. I felt my eyes wet as I remembered a memory where I used to sit on it and Mom used to push it. There were more pictures of us on the wall and an album lying on the table. I immediately took it and put it in the sack. I walked upstairs and saw 3 more rooms. Downstairs was my dad's study, so it meant that upstairs, one of these rooms was my nursery and another the master bedroom and one of them the guest room. I explored the nursery and the guest room. There was nothing special in there, both were covered in loads of dust. I walked towards the master bedroom, putting all the photos I found on the way in my sack. I went inside the master bedroom. There was nothing special about it. It was like any other master bedroom, just like the rest of the house. The only thing that made it special was the memories I had over here. I wish I could live over here and not in the rotten attic. I saw a table and some things on it. I walked over there and saw a wedding album of my parents' wedding. It went into the sack. Then suddenly something caught my attention. A letter. I opened it and started reading. Dear Mom. Sophia has started communicating a lot after her 2nd birthday. Even if some of it is still broken, at least she is making an effort. She is such a bright girl. I am feeling so happy. My little princess is growing up so fast. Soon enough she will be able to communicate properly. I can't wait for that day. Her 2nd birthday was wonderful, with her, me and Richard. I'm still sad that you could not make it. The pack still treats me like an outcast when Richard is not around, but I don't care about it now. My sole focus is my daughter now. Richard still says she might be a werewolf, and so she has to stay over here at least until her 18th birthday. But if she is not, then I am going to send her to live with you. Well, anyways, I'm not going to worry about the future right now. My only goal right now is to make the most of every moment of my little girl's childhood, to give her the best. Even Richard thinks this as well. I miss you and Dad a lot. Don't forget to tell him that. And also, I am thinking of visiting you soon after Sophia gets older and the problem with the rogues decreases. It has already decreased a lot. I will see you soon. Lots of love, Emma. Reading that letter, I felt really bad. My mom died before she could deliver the letter to her mom. Wait a minute. Her mom, my grandmother, must be still alive. Which means I had relatives even if they were humans. My grandparents. I needed to find them. I immediately searched through the drawer for more letters and there I found it. A letter from my grandmother with her address on it. I took that envelope and put it inside my sack. Holding that, I sneaked outside and started walking. Suddenly someone tapped on my shoulder. I turned around in surprise. I saw the pack doctor standing in front of me. She was smiling at me and I smiled back. Well, honey, I didn't expect to see you here, she said. Me too, ma'am, but it is nice to meet you again, I replied. She looked at me and asked, well, are you busy right now? I looked at the watch and saw it was 3 p.m. I still had 2 more hours. I looked at her and said, no, ma'am. She smiled and said, please don't call me ma'am. You can call me Aunt. Oh, by the way, how silly of me. What is your name, honey? I smiled and replied, my name is Sophia, but people call me Sophie. Well, Sophie, you can call me Aunt Helena. By the way, I wanted to invite you to my home to eat my famous cookies. Would you like to come? My home is only a few minutes away from here. I was shocked. No one was nice to me in this pack. Offering me cookies and inviting me to their home was something no one had ever done. We started talking about random stuff while walking towards her house. It was very similar to mine. She offered me some of her peanut butter and chocolate chip cookies along with some tea. Her husband's name was Thomas and he seemed like a genuinely nice guy. She told me about her daughter as well and how she was shocked but extremely happy that her daughter was mated to their old Pax Alpha. But what surprised me the most was when she brought out a very beautiful dress and told me that she had bought it for me as a birthday gift. She had come across my birth date while I was in the hospital and knew my birthday was the day after tomorrow. I literally held back my tears. She was really an angel. She consoled me and told me that I reminded her very much of her own daughter when she was 17. When she came to know I was an orphan, she felt very bad. She even made me wear the dress and took a photo of me with it. She and her husband both told me that they had a great time talking with me and that I should visit them often. I said my goodbyes and left. This was the first time that I felt affection, love, or even the first time I received a gift after my second birthday. I was happy. I was leaving the pack, but also a tiny bit sad that I was leaving Aunt Helena and Uncle Thomas behind. I could not complete my promise of meeting them more often. Having those thoughts in my head, I headed towards the pack house. I walked into the pack house through the back door as I did not want anyone to see me in a dress. I immediately ran into the attic and changed into the rags and carefully folded the dress. Then I stepped out to make some dinner. The next day went as usual, the stairs filled with disgust, me cooking the breakfast, lunch, and dinner, the occasional kicks from Victoria and her gang. But what everyone didn't know was that I was planning my secret escape up in the attic. People usually threw useless stuff they didn't want to use there, so taking advantage of it, I searched the entire attic and found an old backpack. I carefully put all the photos in it and the dress. That was all that I was taking. I wanted nothing else from this pack once I left, not even its food and water. Today at midnight I was going to find out whether I was a werewolf or a human. After washing the dishes, I went upstairs in the attic. I looked at the watch and saw it was 10 p.m. What I had observed while coming back to the attic was that everyone at the dining table looked tired. Today's training had been hard on them. It was good for me as it meant they would all fall into a deep sleep and would not be able to sense my transformation as I was all the way up in the attic. There was a gap of a floor between me and the elite pack members. I knew that the Omegas who lived a floor beneath me were too weak to sense my transformation in their sleep. But still, after an hour and a half, I went outside and checked. There was no one around and the pack house was dark with all the lights switched off. I closed and locked the door as well as all the windows. I waited there patiently. For 20 minutes, the clock struck 12, and suddenly I felt a pain throughout my body. It was as if someone was trying to rip it apart. I was a werewolf. It turned out my dad's genes were stronger than my mom's. I was going through my first transformation. Finally, when the pain was gone, I opened my eyes and looked down. I had paws instead of legs. Hello, Sophia. My name is Luna, and I am your wolf. Hi, Luna. It's nice to meet you. I looked into the mirror and saw that I had jet black fur and still the same green eyes. My wolf was magnificent. I admired what I saw in the mirror. We are beautiful, aren't we? Luna chuckled and said, "Sweetie, don't be so formal with me. We are stuck with each other for the rest of our lives." I smiled and said, "Well, Luna, I want you to immediately mask our scent." "But why, Sophia? You just transformed. Listen to me and do it right this second. I will tell you later, okay? It's done now. No one will be able to detect your scent. Be sure to not be alone when in front of the elite members of the pack, so that they don't sense that you have masked your scent without their permission. This is usually done when you are going outside the boundaries of the pack with your alpha's permission, so that you don't get attacked by rogues. Now can I know why you masked our scent?" Luna said sarcastically. "Let me show you, Luna." I closed my eyes and replayed all my memories in my head, the attack, Mom and Dad's death, the torture, the beatings, the bullying, my plan, everything. Luna was silent the whole time. After that, I transformed back into my human form. Luna was still silent. "Luna?" I asked in my head. She said, "Sophia, as your wolf, I can feel your pain. It's like I also went through all the torture when you showed me those memories. The main reason I am shocked is because of your main bully. He acts like a monster with you. Doesn't his wolf stop him? I mean, he's going to be an alpha and what he is doing is wrong. My God, I am going to fully help you escape this pack. Even if we find our mate here, I'm not one of those wolves who will get melted because of her mate. Sophia, yes, I will always have a longing desire to be with him, but just remember that there is nothing more important to me than your happiness. You are not a part of me, I am a part of you. Everything that I saw is something that you have actually gone through. It's outrageous. Don't worry, you have me now. I know a lot of things about fighting and also I am a very fast runner. We will escape together from this hellhole." I smiled. I had someone in this world who cared for me. I told her to not give her scent out any second. She told me that she would try her best. With those thoughts, I took one last look at my packed backpack and went to sleep. Tomorrow is the day. In the morning, I got up and again went into the kitchen to make the breakfast. But that was when I was stopped by an Omega. "Sophia, don't make anything today. The Luna is herself going to come into the kitchen today to make all the food. You might as well just stay in your room." I was a little bit shocked. "Luna making the food? What?" I asked. The Omega looked at me shocked and said, "You didn't know? Today is Alpha Marcus's coronation as the Alpha. The whole pack is going to gather at noon to see that and have lunch later on. So that is the reason I am telling you that you are not required today in the kitchen or in the pack house. You go to your room and don't come out of it. If anyone comes across you, it will only create more problems for you. Actually, the whole pack is up right now as well as the Alpha's family. They are going to start the pre-rituals of the coronation ceremony in some time, so they are all getting ready. I simply nodded my head and left. As I was going, suddenly the most amazing scent hit my nose. It was of pine cones and peppermint. The scent was addictive. I looked to see where it was coming from and looked outside on the field. I was shocked to see Marcus standing over there talking to the alpha. I quickly turned away and went from there. I knew what this scent was. I just needed one confirmation. Mate, Luna whispered. The demon, the monster, the one who I could call my worst nightmare, the one who was determined to destroy me, break me, almost kill me. I don't know what the moon goddess was thinking. This monster, soon to be Alpha Marcus, was my mate. No, never. I'm not going to accept this. I have heard that a Luna always increases an Alpha's power. He might abuse me more, even sexually. No, I am not going to let him touch me. I am leaving. He will not use me to build up his power. Luna, we are leaving, I said sternly to my wolf in the attic. We have a problem, Sophia. Now that I know that our mate is an alpha wolf, I don't know how long I can mask my scent in front of him. When I detected his scent, I could feel his wolf getting restless. It's better if we leave during the coronation. Among many other scents he might not be able to detect then. Also, I have no guarantee, Sophia. I don't know how long I can mask the scent, especially in front of an alpha mate. But I know for sure that if you go in front of him, then he will be able to recognize you. I sighed. Why was my life so messed up? Why was he my mate? My only option was to stay in the attic till noon. Time skip. It was noon and the whole pack house was deserted. I took my backpack and started walking. When I reached the stage, which was actually near the entrance of our pack, when I go out of it into the forest, I will become a rogue. I went near the entrance and took one last look at the stage. I saw the crown of the alpha being placed on Marcus's head. I could not deny he was attractive, or was it just the mate bond showing its effects? But I did not want to be near him. Never. I was about to take a step forward when suddenly I heard Luna yell in my head, Sophia, our scent has been let out. He can sense you. Terrified, I looked behind and saw Alpha Marcus looking in my direction. He suddenly sniffed the air around him and I just knew he had found out. He suddenly yelled, mine, while looking at me. I turned away and ran from him, the person I hated the most, the devil who ruined my life. Run. Neither me nor my wolf care about him. He is a monster. Tears were in my eyes even while thinking about him. He loudly growled my name, commanding me to stop, but I just ran faster with only one thought in my head. Run, never come back. I don't care about that devil, even if he was my mate. Dear listener, if you felt every tremor of Sophia's tortured heart, if you've run alongside her through despair and hope, then don't let this moment fade into silence. Subscribe now, because what comes next will shatter everything you think you know. Will Marcus find her? Can a monster become a man? The chase has only begun, and the most devastating truths are still waiting in the shadows. Hit that subscribe button, because the next chapter holds a revelation that will change their fate forever. Don't miss what happens when the hunter finally catches his prey. I stood at the entrance of my pack, feeling helpless. I had sent my warriors to search for her in the forest, but still I was not sure if she would be willing to come back. It is all because of you, you freaking idiot. I had waited for my mate for 2 years, and when I find her, all she wants to do is run away, just because you had hurt her and treated her like trash. My wolf yelled. I could feel my eyes getting wet. My mate, my love, my Luna. Even when I looked at her from a distance, I could see the terrified expression on her face. She ran away from me because she was scared of me. She would never forgive me. I knew that. I had to beg her. I was ready to get down on my knees and beg her. She had run away from me. She was not ready to be my mate. I don't know how long I was standing over there, but soon I started hearing whispers from other pack members. They knew everything, the way I treated her, the way she was tortured by the pack, about her being my mate. I turned to my beta and said loudly, everyone have your food and leave. The ceremony is cancelled. I was about to leave when Victoria suddenly kept her hand on my shoulder and said, it's all right, babe. That girl was not even worth it. It is good that she is gone. Now we can be together. I snapped my head in her direction and pushed her away. If anyone in this pack dares to talk anything bad about Sophia, they will have to deal with me. She is going to be your Luna, and don't worry, she is going to come back here soon enough. I don't want any more questions about this, I said and walked towards the pack house. I mind-linked all my pack members who were on the lookout for her. They still hadn't found anything. I went into the pack house and went straight up towards the attic. Right now, I felt like a terrible person. More than that, I felt like the worst mate. My mate was living in the cold attic, shivering on a wooden bed, while I was in my warm bed having all the luxuries in this world. Now I know why my mate wanted to mask her scent. I remembered all the times I had insulted her and all her pleas to stop while I was breaking that frame. Felt a huge pain in my heart thinking about her, and my wolf titan was howling. I opened the door of the attic. Her scent was still there, but the person itself was completely gone. I looked over at the old table in the attic and saw the broken pieces of the frame I had destroyed. I walked over to them and picked one of them up. At that moment, I pictured her face, how she was not speaking a word, but her tears wouldn't stop flowing. It was very sentimental for her. Could you communicate with her wolf? I asked Titan. No. The minute I tried to take advantage of the mate bond and tried to use wolf communication, her wolf just blocked me. And before blocking, she told me to leave her and Sophia alone. I shut my eyes and collapsed on the bed. Even her wolf hated me. I did not want her in my pack to increase my power. I just wanted her by my side with me. I had waited for my mate all my life and was disappointed on my 18th birthday when I could not find one. But I still did not lose hope. And now I just found out that my mate was none other than the girl whose whole life had been made a living hell by none other than me. Suddenly I heard footsteps in the attic. It was Owen, my beta, and my mom and dad. Owen came in and I looked at him hopefully, but he just simply shook his head. I still remember that Owen was the only one who always told me to stop, who told me that what I was doing to her was wrong. If I had listened to him, maybe things would have been better right now. My father spoke. We apologize, son. We never knew that Richard's daughter was your mate. If we had treated her better and given her the respect of being our best warrior's daughter, then today the pack would have a Luna along with an Alpha. It is our fault as well. Dad, are there any records of her, like any other family members she had anything? I asked my father. No, son. Feels like someone erased all of them. I had a file about her mom as she was the only human mate in our pack, but right now when I went into the office, it was not there. It feels as if Sophia has vanished into thin air. I sighed and looked out of the window. I was planning to issue a word to the neighboring packs as well. I would never stop looking for her. I was ready to wait for days, weeks, and even years. Even if every day without her would be a torture for me, I was ready to face it. I deserved that. Right now, all I could do was wait for my Sophia. And I will have to wait for my Luna, Titan whimpered. Sophia, you can take over now. I think we are in a human settlement. I looked around and saw a small town in front of me. When I was running away after some time, Luna had offered to take over as she was faster. She said she would let me take over when she thought we were in a safe place. We both were extremely tired, but our determination kept us going. I wanted to find my grandmother. I went up to what felt like a grocery shop. I asked, "Can you tell me where the train station is?" He gestured me to go straight and I began walking. I had looked at the name of the town on the board, but it was not the same as Grandma's address. I went up to the train station and on the counter there was an old man sitting. I asked him, "Excuse me, do you know where this town is?" I asked him, showing the address. The old man said, "Yes, miss, it is about 2 hours away from here if you travel by train." I asked what was the amount of the ticket and if there was a seat available. Luckily there was, and I brought out the money to pay him. How do I have that, you ask? Well, when I went to my old house, I found my mom and dad's old wallets. And for years, I had been collecting spare coins from the pack that would be dropped by someone or left behind. I know I sound like a beggar, but that was the only option I had. I never even had any clothes of my own. They would usually be hand-me-downs or taken out from a dumpster. While leaving the pack a day before, I had offered an Omega to clean up the Alpha's office for her. She had happily handed me the job and left. But in the office, I actually pretended to clean up the cups and snuck out my mom's file along with the useless paperwork that was supposed to be thrown away. I did not want them to know my grandmother's address. I was sure to not even leave a trace behind of my grandparents. I sighed while thinking about them. What were they like? After so many years of not contacting them, would they accept me? Would they even recognize me? Were they in that town anymore? I took my seat in the train. This was the first time in my life I was taking a chance. I did not know what was waiting for me, but I hoped it would be better than what I had experienced in the past. Time skip. I got down from the train when my stop was announced. Well, now let's find Grandma, Luna said, full of enthusiasm. I chuckled. She was always so full of energy, and it was because of her support that I could escape my awful life. Right now, I really don't know what is in store for the future, but I am glad I have her. I asked a couple of people for directions. There were also some people looking at me weirdly, but I just kept on walking. I finally reached my destination. In front of me was a house which looked like a cottage. It was quite similar to mine. I knocked on the door. An elderly-looking woman opened the door, and I knew it was undoubtedly my grandma. She had my red hair and her nose was exactly like mine. She looked speechless. I felt that she was surprised to see a young girl who looked like a total mess at her doorstep on a Sunday afternoon. Before I could explain or even say anything to her, she suddenly exclaimed, "Sophia!" She exclaimed, "Sophia!" I looked at her with surprise. "You recognized me?" I asked. "Well, a girl who looks exactly like my daughter and has the same nose and hair as me and the green eyes of my husband can be none other than my granddaughter. But just to be sure, tell me your full name," she said while looking at me hopefully. I said, "It's Sophia Richard Hartwell." Without even waiting a second, she hugged me and said, "Oh, my dear Sophia. Honey, do you even know how much me and William waited for this day? We yearned to talk to you, to bring you into our house," she said while wiping her tears and pulling away from the hug. "But first, come inside. This is your house, dear. William will just be coming in sometime." "Oh, my dear Sophia." "William?" I asked. "Oh, your grandpa, honey. The one who gave you and your mom his green eyes," she said, smiling. I went inside. The house looked extremely cozy. I turned around and saw my grandma and there were some tears in her eyes. I said, "I have something that I wanted you to see," I said and handed her my mom's letter. She took it from my hands and read it. I looked at her and said, "Mom was going to send you this, but before that I trailed off and could not say the words. "She died. I know all about it, Sophia. It's better if we don't talk about it. I'm just glad to meet you. Me and your grandfather had lost all hope of meeting you, but we had always hoped and prayed that it would happen. Looks like God finally heard our prayers," she said, smiling at me and keeping her warm hand on my cheek and ruffling my hair lovingly. Just then the doorbell rang and Grandma excitedly said, "That must be William." Grandma opened the door and an elderly man came in. He had the same green eyes as mine and looked at me with the same surprised expression as Grandma. I smiled at him and stood up. My grandma said, "Our Sophia is back, William?" He looked at me for a long time and said, "Undoubtedly she is Sophia. She looks just like Emma, but I need to just check if she is an imposter. So, your father and my son-in-law, who was he and what was his name?" I smiled at him and replied, "My father was the best warrior of Silverwood Pack, and his name was Richard Hartwell. He met my mother when she was 18 and she was his mate. He took her to his werewolf pack and shortly afterwards they had me, Sophia Hartwell. She is our Sophia, Margaret. Our granddaughter, she is with us," he said while smiling at his wife with tears in his eyes as well. He came up to me and hugged me. "The last time I saw you, you were so small and now look at you all grown up," he said while giving a watery chuckle. I hugged him back. Right now, meeting them, I realized they were indeed my grandparents. They had waited for me all these years. I was not completely alone like I used to think. I pulled away and we all sat down on the couch. Grandma looked at me and said, "Well, but honey, your alpha finally gave you permission to come visit us and contact us?" My grandma asked. I truthfully replied, "No, Grandma. I actually did not even know that my mom had parents until I found the letters and their wedding pictures. About my pack and my alpha, I am really not willing to go back there. They did not really treat me right. I have left that pack." I was careful enough to not mention all the bullying and torture part, because their faces were already showing anger. They both were silent for a while and then said, "We already knew about your condition over there. They treated your mom very coldly and would not even look at her when Richard was not around. When they died, we went to their funeral. We asked the Alpha if you could come stay with us or if we could visit you in the pack, but he simply refused and did not allow us, and sent us away without even letting us meet you, telling us he would take care of you. After a while, the pack postman stopped coming to take our letters for you, and they would not even pick up the calls we made to inquire about you. It was like we were made to accept that we never had a granddaughter," my grandma said with tears in her eyes. I felt anger and hatred towards the pack. Not only did they make me suffer but also my family. My grandpa rubbed Grandma's back and said, "It's all right, Margaret. The most important and happy news is that our Sophia is here now, and she is not going anywhere now. Now we don't have anything to worry about, neither that Silverwood pack nor the werewolves," my grandfather said, smiling. He clearly thought that I was a human. "Sophia, this is something we can't hide from them," Luna said. So I took a deep breath and said, "Grandpa, I am a werewolf." The shock on their faces said it all. Now was the time to leave. Clearly they did not like werewolves and would not accept me. I stood up and said, "Well, I will leave. I just wanted to meet the two of you. It's all right. I understand me being a werewolf and all." Saying that, I picked up my bag and began to walk. "Sophia, wait," my grandpa said. "Werewolf or human, all we know is that you are our granddaughter, the one person we waited to see all these years. We don't care about you being a werewolf. Trust me, but we don't want you to go away. If you live with us, you will have to be human 90% of the time, adapt a little to our lifestyle as this is a human settlement. If you and your wolf are okay with this, then please live with us. I had tears in my eyes. You both don't have a problem with me being a werewolf? I asked. My grandma replied, No, honey. To us, you are nothing but our granddaughter. We just want to make up for all the years that we lost, give you all the love we wanted to, and see you healthy and rosy, not like this thin, malnourished stick in front of us. I walked up to them and gave them a big hug. Grandma hugged me back tightly while Grandpa ruffled my hair. After all these years, I finally had people I could call my own. My family. 3 years later. Sophia, wrap these bunch of tulips immediately and give them to the gentleman standing at the corner, my grandma said. I nodded my head and did the work and put the money in the cash register. My grandparents owned the biggest and the only flower shop in the town. We had a huge garden behind our house where we grew flowers and sold them. We even made artificial ones at home if anyone ordered them. I had to admit that these 3 years had been the best in my entire life. Every morning I woke up and came to the shop and helped my grandparents. I loved it. I was really glad that I was there to help them now because I worked fast and efficiently and also took a lot of their stress away. Being a werewolf had its advantages because I could work twice as much and had a lot of stamina in me compared to humans. Even Luna loved to work over here a lot. She felt close to nature. That was our last customer of the day. Grandpa and Grandma were now closing the shop, and I was placing one of the pots on a shelf when I suddenly slipped. Someone held me and stopped me from falling. I looked behind and saw it was my best friend Iris. You have been getting quite clumsy these days, young lady, she said while laughing. Girls, come on. We're going home. We have to close the shop, my grandma yelled. We quietly followed her out and Grandpa closed the door of the shop. Me and Iris started talking about random things and were giggling like two little girls until we finally reached my home. When we went in, my grandparents told me to sit at the table. They went inside the kitchen and Iris followed them. I knew exactly what they were doing. Today was my birthday and it also marked the exact 3rd year of me leaving my pack and coming over here. Suddenly I heard 3 voices singing in unison, Happy birthday to you. My grandparents held the cake while Iris was taking pictures as well as holding a camcorder in her hand, recording everything. I blew the candles and all 3 of them clapped their hands and cheered. I couldn't help but smile. My life was so different and happy now. Soon after, my grandma served everyone the cake, and we started eating with Iris sitting by my side on the table. The whole town knew me now. My grandparents had made up a story that my parents had died in a car crash and soon after that I came to live with them. The whole town had welcomed me with open arms. But no one knew that I was a werewolf except for my grandparents and Iris's family. Iris knew my secret because she was a werewolf as well. Her parents were actually rogues but were good people. When they found out they were mates, they still lived in the forest. But when her mom discovered she was pregnant, they decided to settle down and adapt a human lifestyle because they wanted to give their child a better life. They immediately came to know I was a werewolf when they saw me, but were not angry or sad. They were happy that their daughter had found a friend from whom she did not have to hide anything. Me and Iris had a great friendship. We were inseparable. When we met, we bonded over the fact that our names both were that of flowers and had been the best of friends ever since. But her parents had told her to not really expect to find a mate, because it was very rare for rogues to find one. They were just lucky enough. And so, just like me, she was not trained like werewolves but brought up like a human. Iris usually was all the time at my house because her parents were always working late. She also had dinners and sleepovers at my place. My grandparents never complained about her being around. In fact, they loved her and treated her just like me. They knew she was a werewolf but never even mentioned it once. They all had a great bond. After eating cake and eating the dinner, Iris left as her parents had come home early that day. I told my grandparents that I would be in my room. They said good night to me and said happy birthday once again. I went into my room and sat on my bed. I smiled once again, remembering today. I looked at the photograph of Mom and Dad kept on my bedside table. I kissed it and whispered, I miss you to them. I got up after that and changed into my pajamas and looked at the bruises on my body, which were now silver. I still remembered the day I told the entire truth about my pack to all 3 of them. While Grandpa and Grandma's anger just increased, Iris was horrified and was grateful that she was a rogue. Today, when I looked at my grandparents, I saw them feeding each other cake. They looked so cute. They were actually high school sweethearts and had my mom very early. They had to go through a lot of stress, but Grandma said that it only made their bond stronger. I thought that if Marcus had treated me better in the pack, then maybe we would have been together. I mentally slapped myself for thinking like that. How could I even think like that? Sophia, calm down. I think like that about Titan all the time. It is natural. After all, it is the mate bond, as you both have not rejected each other, Luna said. I felt bad for Luna. Every day I could feel her getting a bit depressed because wolves needed their mates. Even if she did put up a strong will and help me run away, I could sense that somewhere she was missing her mate. Sophia, please stop thinking like this right now. I don't want a discussion about our mate, especially when today's day went so well. Let's not end it on a sour note. I went and switched off the light. I laid down on the bed and eventually fell asleep. It had been 3 years. 3 freaking years since she left. It had been a living hell for me. Every passing day had been a mental torture. When she left, for some time I was depressed and had locked myself in a room. But later I realized that I had the responsibility of a pack on my shoulders. Doing the work of an alpha was a distraction for me from my empty life. I worked hard and made it one of the safest and best packs in the world. My pack was also one of the most flourishing and wealthiest packs in the world. But all this meant nothing to me without her, my Sophia. Today I have everything, the best of everything. Everyone respected me. But all this meant nothing to me. Every single time I went to the yearly Alphas gathering where all the Alphas used to meet, when I saw all of them along with their mates, I felt jealous as well as sad looking at them. But then I reminded myself that I was the one who brought this situation upon myself. All these past years, several girls inside as well as outside the pack tried to seduce me, impress me, but I always gave them no reaction and simply pushed them away. There is only one woman who can be near me and touch me. She is the only one who can make my heart beat fast. I would never reject her advances. And that one girl was none other than my mate. If I ever thought of finding any other mate and mated with her, then Sophia would go through excruciating pain, and I did not want to give her any more. As I had said before, I was ready to wait for her forever. I went into my room in the pack house and saw the picture that was hung above my bed on the wall. I smiled at it. It was the picture of none other than my Sophia. The pack doctor had been nice enough to give it to me after Sophia left. When she saw I was genuinely regretting what I did to her, I enlarged it in size and hung it in my room. Looking at it was the only thing which gave me hope that she would come back someday. After she left without a trace, I did not know what had happened to her, but I knew that she was not dead. I would have felt it if it happened to her. She was still out there somewhere, and one day I would find her and would win her back. I would do everything to make her stay and not go away from me again. If she wanted to take a whip in her hand, torture me, curse me, then I would happily allow her to do that. I deserved it. I deserved every bit of her anger. I would never mind anything she does to me. My dearest Sophia. I walked up to the picture and looked at her beautiful smile. I wished she was over here, standing in front of me, smiling at me. I traced her face with my finger through the glass and whispered, "Please come back to me, my love." Today, when I was working in my shop, my second best friend in the town, Claire, came in with a huge smile on her face. She was actually the mayor's only child. When I started working here, she used to come on a regular basis, and slowly and gradually we became friends. She loved nature and would often go out on expeditions. Actually, she had just come back yesterday from a trip. It had been the longest one, about 4 months. Everyone was kind of worried about her. I greeted her with a huge smile and said, "Hey girl, how have you been?" "Better than ever," she replied with a huge smile on her face. I don't know why, but something about her seemed different. I brushed off my thoughts and said, "So how was the trip? Did you enjoy it? It was your longest one." She looked at me and said, "Yes, it went well. Actually, better than I expected." She actually had a blush on her face while saying that. It felt like she was hiding something. She was not her usual talkative, bubbly self right now. I straight up asked her, "Is there something you want to tell me, Claire? If you don't want to, then it's all right, but it feels like you want to talk," I said, and returned back to tying the bouquet. Today I was alone in the shop with her. Everyone else had gone to a wedding that was taking place to deliver the flowers and decorate the reception hall for the wedding. "Sophia, I do want to tell you something very big." I nodded my head, and then she said, "Sophia, I am engaged." I dropped the flowers I was holding on the floor. She was what? She just came back yesterday. Who was that guy? Claire, are you serious? These types of decisions are not supposed to be taken so quickly. First of all, who is he? Where did you even meet him? Oh my God, Claire, are you sure he is the right guy? I literally bombarded her with questions. She said, "Sophia, please calm down. I met him on my trip. You will also meet him soon. My dad knows about him, and I know he is not taking advantage of me. Please just calm down, Sophia. I want to meet him. I mean, how can he just convince you in such a short time to even marry him? We need to tell Iris about this. Time skip. Iris had the same reaction as me. We just wanted to meet him. Claire told us that if we liked him, then we were going to be the bridesmaids at her wedding. We did not say anything. We were just planning to beat the hell out of that guy to know his real intentions. Claire was our best friend and we would not let some loser hurt her. We were both sitting in her living room waiting for her fiancé when suddenly an unknown scent hit me. Not just any, it felt very similar to an alpha's. There was a werewolf in this house. I looked at Iris, who looked just as shocked as me. Claire entered the room with her arm around a guy, or should I say, an alpha. Everything slowly started making sense to me. Claire was a human made of a werewolf, and not just any but an alpha. He looked at me and I could feel power radiating from him. He definitely had that aura around him. "So, these are your friends, Claire, who were very eager to meet me?" he said while giving me and Iris a big smile. We both smiled back but were a bit scared. Even if we were Claire's friends, we were still rogues. He said, "Claire, why don't you make something good for us to eat while I impress your friends?" Claire nodded and left the room. His face became a bit serious and said, "I know you two don't mean any harm. Claire could not stop talking about you two, so I am going to tell you something. I found Claire in my territory when she was walking around the forest. She accidentally stumbled on it. I found out she was my mate. For the past 2 months, she has been living with me." We both were a bit shocked. He was the reason why her trip had lasted this long. "I just want to tell you that our marriage is going to take place in my pack. You two and your families, and hers as well, will be the only outsiders invited. Are you okay with it?" We both nodded. Claire came in with the snacks. He seemed like a genuinely nice guy. We chatted a lot. Now that I knew Claire was the mate of a werewolf alpha named Gabriel, my worries had gone away. There was only one problem. I felt anxious to go back into a pack after such a long time. I hoped that no one would recognize me even if it was for a short period of time. I shook off my worries and focused more on the fact that made me happy. My best friend was getting married. Today we were traveling to Gabriel's pack for the wedding. He had been asking me a lot of questions. In the wedding, only me, my family, Iris and her family, and the mayor and his wife were outsiders. When we finally reached his pack, I got out of the car and got a lot of strange looks from everyone while walking. Maybe because I was a rogue. I didn't care. At least they were not the hateful or disgusted looks like my previous pack. Right now, all I wanted to do was focus on Claire's wedding. I was the maid of honor. There was a lot to do and there were only 2 days. I was careful enough to avoid Gabriel after the car ride. I did not want him knowing the name of my old pack. I was scared that they would find me and would not only trouble me but also my family. Time skip. "Sophia, can I talk to you for a moment?" Gabriel asked. I nodded and he said, "Sophia, when I came to your town, I sensed some bad rogue activities nearby. I know you are a good werewolf. I think you and Iris should consider moving." I was shocked by his words. I said, "But what about my grandparents? They spent their whole life in that town." I said sadly, "Sophia, it's time to think practically. Right now, don't think about it because there is such a happy atmosphere around, but once you go back, move out of there as soon as possible. Actually, I'm even thinking of offering you and Iris a place in my pack to provide you safety, but I know you won't accept it. So think carefully and take your decisions ahead," he said while leaving. I turned around and looked out of a window. Should I join Gabriel's pack? At that moment, Claire came in inquiring something about her dress. I smiled at her. Right now, I was her maid of honor. Her wedding was what I needed to concentrate on. I would take my decision once this wedding was over. The day of the wedding. Okay, everything was ready. The garden was decorated. The food was ready. The preacher was as well. The bride was in her dress. Her hair and makeup were done. Claire looked stunning in her dress. "Gabriel will not be able to keep his eyes or his hands off you, Claire," Iris joked and we all laughed. We both wore identical pink dresses with sweetheart necklines. Our hair was styled with soft curls and let down loose with a hairpin attached on the side. We all took a picture together. Claire looked so happy and so I was happy as well. This was the first time I was involved in a wedding so actively. The maids called us and we knew it was time to go to the altar. I was fixing my tie, looking in the mirror. It was after a long time that I was attending a wedding. Usually I would avoid attending them, but I had to go to Gabriel's wedding for 2 reasons. His pack was neighboring to mine and he was my childhood friend. I tried avoiding it, but he said that if I didn't come, then he would break our friendship. And he said he had a very sweet surprise waiting for me. I sighed. What did he mean by sweet surprise? He said that for his wedding gift, me and my beta had to mask our scent. He had gone insane. I got into my car along with my beta, who was also his friend as well. When we reached his pack and went into the church, I found out he had made me sit on the third row on the far end, where no one would even notice me. What the hell was this guy thinking? The assembly soon gathered, and Gabriel looked at me, gave me a huge grin and mouthed, "Surprise." I shot him a glare. The music started playing as the door opened. I realized what he meant by sweet surprise, because the most amazing scent hit me and made my wolf go crazy. I immediately looked at the aisle and there she was, my Sophia, looking more beautiful than ever. The wedding began. The bride arrived and Gabriel and Claire exchanged their vows. Everything which happened was beautiful, but I was more focused on my beautiful mate. She had such a genuine smile on her face and was looking like a goddess who descended from the sky and was blessing me with her presence. For a moment, I looked at Owen, expecting him to be surprised over seeing his Luna over here, but he looked like he had just been hit by a huge rock, and his eyes were fixated not on Sophia but on the girl behind her, who was wearing a similar dress to hers. By the way he looked, it only meant one thing. He slowly whispered, "Mate." Time skipped. The reception began, and I was careful enough to not be noticed by anyone, especially Sophia. "So you got my sweet surprise?" Gabriel said to me. "How did you find her?" "She is my mate's best friend, you know." I immediately recognized her the minute she came in front of me, from the picture you had given me. But I continued to ask her some questions to get my suspicions confirmed. "Let me tell you one thing, Marcus, she is a great girl. Don't ever let her go. Now that destiny has given you a chance to be with her once again, don't ruin it." "I will not. I promise you that." "I don't even know how to thank you," I said to Gabriel. At that moment, the father-daughter dance began, and Sophia began dancing with an old man, while an elderly lady was recording it. We were all sitting at a table far away from the dance floor, but because of my alpha vision I could see her perfectly. "Who is that old man?" I asked. "Well, that man is your future grandfather-in-law, Marcus. Let me warn you that even if that man is a human, he is scary. It is going to be a tough job convincing him and also his wife. Sophia is their little princess. I heard that they are extremely protective of her." Suddenly Owen asked, "Do I have to be afraid of my mate's parents too?" "Your mate?" Gabriel asked. Owen pointed towards another girl who was the one standing behind Sophia in the ceremony. "Oh, that's Iris," Gabriel said. Owen smiled after knowing his mate's name. He had waited for her all his life. "Well, her parents are rogues. They have been living with the identity of humans for a long time and also have brought her up as a human. When her mom was pregnant with her, they tried to be pack members, but no pack accepted them. And to provide her with a better life, they went into a human settlement," Gabriel said. "Well, they don't need to worry now. Their daughter is now my mate. I am in one of the best packs. I will protect her and take care of her with every fiber of my being," Owen said. And I knew that he meant it. "Well, guys, before I have to go back to my lovely bride, I want to tell you something serious. When I was in their town, I sensed some bad rogue activity nearby. That was the reason why I was so keen to bring my mate as well as Sophia and Iris out of there. No matter what happens, don't let them go back there. If they have any unfinished business there, then send your pack members masking their scents over there, but don't let them set their foot out of your territory as well as their families." I did the same with mine. The mayor had retired just before my wedding, and now he and his wife are going to stay in my pack as I don't want my wife to worry. "Do the same for your mates," he said while getting up. Before leaving, he looked at me and said, "Marcus, I remember how you used to treat her before. It is going to be hard now, but show patience with her. She is a very headstrong girl now. Show her you regret and your real feelings towards her now. Don't hurt her again. Treat her like the queen she is." "I did not do so much for nothing," he said with a serious expression. I nodded, and he went to dance with his wife again. I was forever going to be grateful to him for what he did. I looked at Sophia again. She was sitting at a table with Iris while her parents and Sophia's grandparents were dancing to a slow song called Perfect. It was beautiful. I wished I could hold my mate in my arms and dance with her. Just then, a little boy came and said something to Iris, and she excused herself and went towards the garden. "Time to meet my mate," Owen said excitedly, fixing his hair, and started walking in the direction in which his mate had left. I smiled and looked back at Sophia. She was eating right now while looking at her grandparents. Danson smiled. "Sophia, I promise you we will be just like that when we grow old," I thought. "I will meet you tonight. Are you ready, Titan?" I asked my wolf. "Yes, and this time we will not let her go away," Titan said excitedly. Time skip. Everyone in the pack hall had left. I had no idea where Owen and Iris were. There was only one person upstairs who was actually checking if nothing had been left behind over there. My Sophia was so sweet. I went upstairs and followed the scent that led me to a changing room. The door was open. I said to Titan, "Unleash our scent." He immediately did that. I walked up to the entrance of the room and Sophia turned around looking shocked. The wedding was so beautiful. Claire and Gabriel looked so beautiful together. I knew they would have a happy married life. The tables, chairs, and everything else were cleared. I just went up once in the room in which me and Iris got ready in the morning to check if anything had been left behind. My grandparents had gone to the guest house along with hers, and Iris had texted me that she had found her mate. I felt like squealing happily. Iris had always secretly hoped to find a mate, and I was happy for her. But I decided to give her some time alone with her mate so that they could, cough cough, get to know each other. I looked around the room and there was nothing that was left unpacked. I looked in the mirror at myself. This was the first time that I had ever felt beautiful. I had such a great time today. But then my mind drifted back to what Gabriel said about the rogues. That really concerned me. Should I really go back to being a werewolf and join a pack for my family's safety? It would be a little bit hard for them as they were humans. But if Gabriel was offering me a place, that is when the most amazing scent hit my nose. Luna started whimpering. I heard footsteps at the entrance and was afraid to turn around. I knew who was standing there, but I did take a deep breath and looked. It was none other than the man, or more accurately, the werewolf, I was running away from. The monster. The person behind my nightmares and the person who treated me like a piece of gum attached to his shoe. It was Marcus. Over the years he had grown bigger and gotten muscular. The aura of an alpha radiated from him. He might have gotten more attractive, but it was just more terrifying to me. Luna was growling inside my head, but I could sense that she was a little scared. There's no way I could fight an alpha that big. But even if I did put up a fight, I was not trained like he was. Stay strong, Sophia. Don't break down in front of him. We will try our best if he attacks us, Luna said to me. But even then, why was he here? What does he want? Tears threatened to fall out of my eyes. Sophia, he whispered out my name. What do you want? Why are you here? She said in a voice that was scared. I took a step towards her and she stumbled backwards. I stopped moving altogether. Sophia, please don't be scared. I'm not going to do anything. Please don't run away this time, I pleaded. Her face hardened a little bit and in a watery voice she said, How can I trust you, a man who has always made my life a living hell? She asked and tears started coming out of her eyes. Seeing her in this condition made me want to hit myself. I was such an idiot. I felt hurt at that time. It felt like someone was running a knife through my heart. Sophia, I regret everything I ever did to you. Please trust me, I'm not the same person anymore. The past 3 years have been torture for me. Sophia, it's been a horrible ordeal I have been going through. Please come back. I love you. Come back, please. I'm ready to do anything to make up to you. We will go back and I will make you the Luna. We will get married, Sophia. We are mates. I think you know this too. Sophia, please. You are the one person who means the most to me in this entire world. Please come back. I miss you. By the end, Sophia's face was blank. Tears were still in her eyes, but her face showed one expression slowly starting to show. Anger. The nerve of this guy. How could he even think that I would accept him as my mate? How could he think I would trust him again? I knew this was all just an act he was putting on so he could reveal his real self later. I slowly said, Please don't ever say these nice things when I know they are all fake, Marcus. You and your pack treated me very, very badly for no reason at all. They never trained me and never even let me grow. You especially did not even allow a bit of happiness to be there in my life. You tortured me with silver, enjoyed my pain, my tears. You are saying you are suffering these past 3 years? Well, you know what? I have been suffering all my life. It was all because of you. You made me feel worthless, unloved, ugly, and you even enjoyed that. And now you remember my name is Sophia? Where are the regular names you had given me, like, that girl, or, the human? And you made me live in an attic, did not even allow me to eat or drink without your pack's so-called permission. And now you are asking me to come back and marry you? You may think I am a fool, but I am not. You just want me to come back so you can build your power and torture me again, and even my family. That is exactly your plan, to hurt me more, physically, mentally, or even sexually. That is the only limit left to be crossed, right? You just want to cause me more pain because you always do that. All you want to do is break me. I yelled. This was for the first time I spoke my mind in front of him. I was still crying. I wanted to speak more, but before that he yelled, Sophia, stop. Abuse her sexually? Did she really think of me like that? When she was yelling at me, I felt like somebody should just come and kill me. She repeated everything I did to her in the past, but when she told me what she thought I was going to do to her, I felt horrified. Yes, it was true that an alpha's power increased with the arrival of the Luna, but I didn't want her because of that. I wanted her because she was my mate, the girl I had waited for all my life. I could not even think about hurting her or her family. As her mate, I loved and respected them as much as she did, and I would not even touch her inappropriately. I would consummate our relationship only and only with her consent. Everything she said felt like someone was throwing knives at me. I just wanted her by my side. Tears were coming out of my eyes for the first time. Titan was whimpering as well. So I yelled, "Sophia, stop. Just stop. I told you I am not going to hurt you anymore. I would not even think of touching you in a wrong way, Sophia. I am your mate. Please stop thinking this way about me. Just come back." I cried out. I went near her and stood in front of her. She looked at me for a minute and we both just stood over there staring at each other, tears still coming out of our eyes. I just looked at him. This was the first time I had seen tears in his eyes. But I felt confused about my feelings towards him. Had he really changed? No. This stupid mate bond was making me feel stupid things now. I know that even if I rejected him, he would never accept my rejection. Why was my life so messed up? He was still looking at me. I wiped my tears and decided to go away. I started walking and he suddenly held my hand. "Where are you going, Sophia?" "To the guest house. My family is over there." I tried to get out of his hold, but he didn't budge. I looked up at him and he said, "Tomorrow at 7 a.m. we are going back to our pack. Be ready." "You are a big idiot if you think I am coming back over there." "I won't." I snapped back. "So you want to go back to your human town and get in trouble with the rogues?" My eyes widened. How did he know? "I will do whatever I want, but I am not coming back over there. I will join Gabriel's pack. I will do anything I want." "It is none of your business, Marcus." He turned me around so I was facing him. He then began to say, "Sophia, please understand, joining Gabriel's pack won't be that easy for you. The elders won't appreciate too many humans living over here. Already Claire's parents are here, but they won't mind that as she is the alpha's mate. But the same doesn't apply for you. Your grandparents will be treated the same way your mother was. Besides that, me and Gabriel are alphas of two of the most powerful packs. If the rogues come to know that you are here as well as Claire is here, then chances are that they might target Gabriel's pack and trouble both of us, because you are my weakness, Sophia, and Claire is Gabriel's weakness. It will all create a lot of trouble. That is the reason I am suggesting, come to my pack, Sophia. Come with me. I will take care of your family, of their every need. They will be treated with the utmost respect and care. I will guarantee you that. You want to hate me, curse me, or even hit me and slap me, I will be okay with that. Just come with me and allow me to protect you and protect the ones you love because I love you, Sophia. Just you being next to me and knowing you are safe is enough for me. I, Alpha Marcus, promise you, my mate and Luna Sophia, that I will provide protection for you and your grandparents. There will be no place in the pack for any werewolf who will dare to disrespect you or your family. That is my word. I will never go back on it," he said, and I was shocked because whenever alphas give their word they keep it. Besides that, he was using his alpha voice to give me the promise. "Marcus, I don't know what I believe anymore. I'm in a fix. I don't know what to say." He took a step towards me and said, "Sophia, don't say anything. Just come tomorrow with me. It is about your grandma and grandpa's safety after all. Trust me, Sophia, just this one time, please. I beg you, come to the pack entrance tomorrow morning. I will be waiting for you," he said and started walking away. "Why didn't you leave today evening?" I asked him. "Because I knew you would want time to pack and make up your mind. I don't mind waiting for you, Sophia. I am ready to wait for a lifetime for you," he said with a sad smile on his face. Luna was sobbing right now. Meeting her mate and him saying all this was too much for her, and the strong walls she had built around her were breaking. I decided to leave and Marcus started walking with me. "What are you doing?" I asked. "Coming to the guest house," he said. "You are staying there too?" "Yes, I am." I quickened my pace because I did not want to be walking with him, but apparently he had longer legs than me, so basically me quickening my pace was like a casual walk for him. Oh my God, he was already annoying me. If I went to his pack, I would see him every day. But what he didn't know was that I was a strong girl now and not that frail, weak person anymore. I would not melt because of his silly gestures. The sole reason I would agree to this was because of my family's safety. I had his alpha's word, so I knew that he would not break it. We finally reached the guest rooms and we parted ways. I took a deep breath and went to my grandparents' room. "Sophia, you are finally here. Took you long enough to come. By the way, everything is packed for tomorrow." "When are we leaving?" my grandma asked. Grandpa also looked at me. "I need to talk to both of you," something very important. Both my grandparents listened carefully. I explained everything to them, the danger of the rogues and why we needed to shift to another pack. But by the end of it, I got the reaction I expected. No, Sophia. You're our granddaughter. We love you eternally and don't care if you are a werewolf, but to go and live among them, this is something we can't do, Rosie. We will take care of ourselves. You can go and live with your kind, Grandpa said. Grandpa, the sole reason I am going is because the Alpha is offering you protection. Please come. I don't want to lose the two of you like I lost Mom and Dad. Mentioning them made their faces soften. Sophia, what is the guarantee that the Alpha will treat us well? Grandma asked. The Alpha has given his word. The minute he breaks it, we will leave the pack to never go back over there. Trust me, Grandma. But honey, why specifically that pack only? I took a deep breath. It was high time I told them the truth. The Alpha is my mate. There was a long silence in the room. That means you, my grandpa began saying. That doesn't mean anything, Grandpa. I haven't accepted him as my mate. I just want our family to be safe. I'm just looking out for us. Grandma, please just come with me tomorrow to the pack. Please. That is the only way we can be safe from the rogues, I pleaded. In the end, they reluctantly agreed. Sadness could be seen on their faces. I told them about the mayor and Iris's family as well, and they seemed a bit relaxed after that, but just a bit. I said goodnight to them and went towards mine and Iris's bedroom. But as soon as I entered, I wished I didn't, because I saw two people making out with each other ferociously. Oh my God, how could I forget? She had found her mate. They were literally eating each other's faces. Seeing me inside the room, Iris immediately pulled away, but her mate, not taking the hint, began kissing her neck. I felt awkward. Owen, Sophia is here. Stop. Iris said. Oh, I am so sorry, her mate said and turned around. Her mate was none other than Owen, the beta of my ex-pack and Marcus's best friend. But then I remembered that at my old pack, Owen was the only one who used to stop Marcus before he went too far. He never bullied me but instead tried to stop them. He was even nice to me sometimes. And now he was Iris's mate. He looked just as shocked to see me. Sophia, this is my mate Owen, she said excitedly. I smiled at her and then at him. Seeing me, he smiled back. Good for you, Sophia. And Owen, take good care of her. She is one of the most precious people to me in this entire world. He nodded and said, I will, and kissed her cheek, making her blush. Okay, I guess it's time for me to leave. I will see you two tomorrow morning, he said and whispered something in Iris's ears, which made her turn red. He chuckled and then left. Iris came and sat beside me. So how do you know Owen? He was in my old pack. Iris immediately widened her eyes. I had told her about my old pack and she had always thought of them as monsters. Now the beta of my old pack was her mate. Iris, it's all right. Owen is a good guy. He never bullied me. He even tried to stop them. He will be a good mate. Trust me. I will talk to him about it. I will think about this later. He did not tell me about this. She let out a sigh. Sophia, I will take a shower and come back. It's a good thing he did not mark me right now. It was so foolish of me just because he was my mate, I trusted him. But he has given his word that once we go to his pack, they will not trouble my parents. He will not break it, right? I nodded. Iris, let's talk later, please. I will go take a shower. Saying that, she grabbed a bathrobe and went into the bathroom. I walked towards the window and stood there. Today I had tears in my eyes in front of Marcus because he came in front of me unexpectedly, but the truth was that I had quit crying for the last 3 years. I did not even cry once. I intended to keep it like that. I'm no longer the weak, fragile girl. I am now a strong, independent woman. I had sensed the smell of rogues 1 or 2 times as well, but they never came close to the town to smell strong enough. That was the reason why I took it lightly. But when Gabriel told me, then I knew that I had to do something to protect my family. Taking them back over there would be impractical on my part. They were old now, and Grandma also had to use a stick occasionally to walk. I also had no training. Besides that, I did not even know how many there were. I had already lost people I loved once to rogues, and that was not going to happen again. If Marcus had given an alpha's word to give them a place in the pack, then I knew he would not break it. That was what mattered to me the most, my family. Luna suddenly whimpered. What happened, Luna? Our mate is constantly trying to use wolf communication to talk with me, but I keep on blocking him. Sophia, honestly, after today, I don't know if our mate has really changed or he just wants to bring us back into the pack so that they can have a Luna. I am confused between the one I saw when we ran away or the one we saw today who confessed his love. Luna, I don't want to think about this right now. The only thing that matters to me is that Grandpa and Grandma are safe and are treated with respect. I don't want to mate right now. Let's go to sleep. Tomorrow we have to wake up early. I went on the bed and while laying down I sighed. Marcus. He would keep his word. Was he really sorry? Did he really love me? I shook my head. Silly, silly Sophia. I closed my eyes. Tomorrow I am going back to a place which I used to call hell. I got up very early in the morning and got ready. I had to be at the pack entrance at 7 a.m. I had to literally yell in Iris's ears to get her up. She was not a morning person at all. Even after coming out of the shower, she looked groggy. I took a last look at the whole room to see if we forgot anything and went out. Iris was standing at the door as I approached her, but then suddenly someone yelled her name. Hey Iris. It was Owen. He walked fast, or almost ran, and immediately gave her a kiss, wrapping his arms around her. After they broke apart, Iris looked like she was in a daze but immediately snapped out of it. Sophia, can you give us a minute? I need to talk something with him. Sure. I will be at the pack entrance, I said. I went to my grandparents as well, but they said they would come in 5 minutes, so I left for the pack entrance alone. Over there I saw Marcus standing near a minibus looking tensed. But the minute he saw me he grinned and looked very happy. Today morning while getting ready, I was tensed because I was unsure whether she would come or not. Owen had gone to pick up his mate, and so I waited outside the minibus which I had ordered from my pack, as there were 2 families along with me and Owen traveling. While I was waiting I saw her approaching and I couldn't help but smile. She was coming back. But she had a sad and reluctant look on her face. I approached her and said, "Give me your suitcases. I will put them in the minibus." She gave me a look which I thought was a glare and said, "No thanks. I can carry it myself. I don't need your help," she said and walked ahead. I followed her and opened the back door of the bus where we were keeping our luggage. I was smiling at her constantly while she kept on glaring at me. I knew that I should be sad, but just the fact she was beside me and coming with me to my pack was enough to make me and my wolf happy. I was ready to spend the rest of my life apologizing to her, my Sophia. I couldn't help but notice how beautiful she looked even today. By then the remaining people arrived. I said hello to her grandparents and they simply nodded. When we climbed into the bus I saw that there were 2 rows, one on the right and the other on the left. Sophia's grandparents and Iris's parents took the first seats in the 2 rows, as it would be easier for them to climb down. Owen and his mate went to sit in the last row. Iris's parents did not seem to have any kind of problem with it, because they already knew that they were mates. I said goodbye to Gabriel and told him I would visit again and closed the door. I saw Sophia sitting on the seat next to Owen in the right row, while Owen and his mate were on the left row. I went and sat next to Sophia. "Why the hell are you over here? There are many more seats available," she said, looking angry. "I can sit anywhere I like, Sophia. I arranged for this bus. I'm not even bothering you. Why are you so angry? You know what? Do whatever you want. I will just go to sleep," she said, closing her eyes shut. I sighed and looked at Owen. He was having the time of his life with his mate, making out with her in the back seat. The elders had already fallen asleep and here I was. I could not even look out of the window because Sophia had the window seat. I just stared at her like a fool with her eyes shut, her smooth skin, her plump lips. She looked like a doll. I really wanted to kiss her but I held myself back. The journey was of 3 hours and we were just in the first 10 minutes. After a while, I stopped staring and looked at Owen and saw that his mate had fallen asleep as well on his shoulder. He looked at me and mind-linked. Today morning was a bit of a problem for me and her. "Really? What happened?" I asked. "She came to know that I belonged to your pack and Sophia had told her everything and she was scared of me and of our pack," Owen said. "How did you convince her then?" I asked. "I didn't, man. Sophia did. She told her that I was nice to her before she left the pack. But still, today morning she made me promise her that no matter what happens in the future, we will not treat anyone that way and that I will always act with my conscience while helping you. You always do that, I know, but giving that promise reassured her. And you know we both never break our words. Well, at least we know that Iris will be a good beta mate for our pack." "I came to know that the minute I laid my eyes on her," Owen replied. "Any progress with Sophia?" he asked. "Nope. Still hates me," I replied. "You deserve that, you know, right?" "I know, but I am ready for all that." "You have some rest as well," I replied and looked at him. He smiled and nodded and cut off the mind link and closed his eyes as well. I returned back to staring at my Luna. I could never get bored doing that. We still had 2 hours of journey left, but suddenly she opened her eyes and hissed, "Would you stop doing that? I thought you were asleep." "I was trying to be but couldn't, with you staring at me all the time." she whispered in an angry tone. I was not looking at you. I was looking at the window, I said, and she looked at me with a look of disbelief on her face. You know what? I don't care, she said and closed her eyes again. I decided to give her privacy and took out my phone and started looking at the pictures of her I had taken at the wedding. At least over there she had a smile on her face. I looked at her once again and saw that she had fallen asleep for real. There was still 45 minutes left to reach. Even in her sleep, she had a sad and troubled look on her face. I felt sad myself looking at it. I wanted to tell her that there was nothing for her to worry about in the pack. I would see to it that she would be treated with the highest honors as well as her grandparents. My pack was no longer the same. We now accepted human mates wholeheartedly and even gave them basic training. But I knew that with the past I shared with her, I should be grateful that she was even willing to come back. It was going to be hard and a long journey if I wanted to win her trust and heart, but I was ready for that. My mate, my Luna, my love, my Sophia. I am willing to wait, I said in my mind while looking at her sleeping face. Sophia, wake up. We have reached. Wake up, Sophia. I opened my eyes and saw Marcus waking me up. Okay. I will go and wake up Grandma and Grandpa, I said and got out of my seat. I woke them up and soon we all got down from the bus. As soon as we got down, I saw the pack entrance, the entrance to my living hell. The place I swore I would never come back to. But then I heard the sound of Grandpa helping Grandma climb down. This is for them, Sophia, for their safety, Luna said. Suddenly, I felt a hand on my shoulder. It was Iris. Sophia, I know everything about you and Marcus. Owen told it to me this morning. Don't worry, I am with you this time. If they even try to hurt you, I will kick their ass, she said, and I smiled at her. When we both looked behind, the pack members had already come and were carrying our bags inside the pack. I took my grandma's hand and helped her in. Grandpa followed. Suddenly Marcus started walking with us. I glared at him and he simply smiled. When all of us entered through the pack entrance, I saw something I never expected. Everyone was bowing down. Then suddenly a little girl came and handed flowers to me and Iris. I smiled at her. That was really sweet. Then we began walking again and I saw my parents' house. Memories surfaced back and I felt a tightening in my chest. I had missed it so much. Marcus stood beside me and said, "Your grandparents are going to live here." I widened my eyes and looked at him. Don't worry, everything is the same it was. We just cleaned it up. And the house next to it, that is where Iris's parents are going to stay, he said while smiling at Iris. Thank you very much, Alpha, Iris replied. Don't thank me. They are part of the pack now, he said, smiling. Where am I supposed to live? I asked him coldly. In the pack house, Sophia. You are my mate, he said as if it was obvious. I have not accepted you, Marcus. I am not going to stay in the same room as you, I said firmly. I respect your opinion, Sophia, and that is the reason why you are going in the room next to mine. Please at least come in the pack house, Sophia. Please, Marcus said. I took a deep breath and went to talk with my grandparents. After escorting them to their house and having a short talk with them, I left and saw Marcus still waiting over there. Seeing me, he grinned and started walking with me towards the pack house. On our way over there, a lot of people greeted us and bowed down. Children gave us greetings and flowers. All of this was very new to me. I had never gotten so much respect in this pack. I did not even utter a single word to him while walking towards the pack house. My grandparents had 2 women in their house who were cooking and cleaning for them, and so that was a relief because Grandma used to get a bit tired nowadays doing all the work. As soon as we reached the pack house, I saw many familiar faces who just greeted us and left. They had an ashamed look on their face. I did not even say anything to them. Then the ex-Alpha and Luna, that is, Marcus's parents, came in front of me. We stood silently for a while. I didn't want to talk to them. I just simply bowed down my head and started walking again. Marcus kept following me. Finally we reached our floor. While walking up the stairs, many memories flashed in my mind which I didn't want to go through. The torture, the bullying, everything. I started feeling a bit dizzy. Suddenly someone held my hand. I looked up and saw it was Marcus. Are you all right? He asked me with a worried face. I simply nodded. He showed me a door and said, that is your room. Next to it is mine. You can come over there anytime you want, he said with a smile. I opened the door and he went into his room as well. I saw the room and everything was extremely luxurious. It was decorated very well and very comfortable as well. But all this didn't even bother me. I went and changed my clothes. I only had dresses and nightwear with me as I was coming to a wedding, and 1 pair of jeans and a t-shirt that I was wearing right now. So I went ahead and put on a blue backup dress I had brought with me. I combed my hair. I went out of the room and knocked on Marcus's door. He opened it and his eyes widened after seeing me. I just wanted to ask, when are we going to get our things that we left behind in the town? Me, Grandpa, and Grandma have very few sets of clothing with us right now, I said. Well, I will be sending people to get them in a few days, as it is a bit risky to go there. But don't worry, I will arrange clothes and any other things you need, he replied back. Well, thank you, I said, and then turned to leave. Sophia, the lunch will be ready at 12. I don't want to have lunch, I replied and hurried downstairs. With everything going on in my life, I needed a bit of fresh air. I went out of the pack house and walked towards the garden. Over there, I sat down on a bench. Inside, the pack was the same, and yet everything had changed. I was thinking about visiting my grandparents when I suddenly heard a very cute little soft voice say, Luna Sophia? Beautiful soul, if Sophia's journey has touched your heart, if you felt the weight of her pain and the glimmer of her hope, then don't let this story slip through your fingers. Subscribe now, because what's coming next will test everything she's learned about trust, forgiveness, and second chances. Marcus has his redemption to prove, secrets from the past are about to surface, and Sophia must decide if love can truly heal the deepest wounds. Hit that subscribe button, and let's discover together whether a shattered bond can be made whole again. The transformation has only just begun. I looked up to see 5 children in front of me, 2 girls and 3 boys about the same age. They were all looking at me and smiling. I recognized that the girl who called me out was the same one who had given me flowers at the pack entrance. Who are you? I asked with a smile. The little girl said, I am Emma. This is Lily, that is Daniel, Jacob, and Oscar. Well, it is a pleasure meeting you all, I said with a smile. We are so happy to meet you, Luna, one of the boys said and bowed down along with everyone else. Oh, please don't call me Luna, just call me Sophia. And there is no need to bow down in front of me. But you are our Luna. We are supposed to respect you, Jacob said. And love you, Emma suddenly said loudly. I chuckled. Why are you supposed to do that? I asked with a smile. Everyone else looked at me with a smile when Emma said, because you are our Luna. You will come into this pack and increase our power and bring prosperity into this pack. You will take care of us and of the rest of the pack along with the Alpha. You will love us, all of us, a lot. Of course I will, I said with a huge smile. These children were so sweet. After that, I talked with all of them a lot. They were so cheerful. I felt so nice. I was going to introduce them to my grandma as well. She absolutely loved children. They were all telling me about the pack preschool when suddenly they stopped and bowed down. I looked confused and looked where they were looking and saw Marcus standing over there. Your lunch is ready, he said. Yes, Alpha, all of them said in unison and started leaving. All of them waved a goodbye and I waved back. I saw Marcus looking at me with a smile. My face immediately became blank, and I started to walk past him when he held my hand. Sophia, please come and have lunch. You didn't even have breakfast this morning. Everyone else has already started. Your grandparents even finished having lunch. I took back my hand and said, Alpha, I only came to this pack because you provided protection for my family. I remember the last time I ate something at lunchtime, I was scolded by your pack. Please stop acting like you actually care about me. I don't want you as my mate, but I can't reject you, I said. Sophia, please don't act like this. I admit I did wrong, but come and have lunch at least. I am not hungry, I said coldly and went into my room and closed the door. Even if I was trying not to show it, this was all just too much for me, coming back over here and everything. Why was my life so messed up? I laid down on my bed and eventually fell asleep. Time skip. I woke up and saw it was 3 p.m. in the afternoon. I opened my door and no one was there. I was bored and decided to walk around a little bit. I walked downstairs and saw a door that still made me feel terrified. It was the torture room. I slowly walked towards it and opened the door, but I was surprised to find nothing there. The room was empty, the chains, whips, etc., everything was gone. We don't use it anymore, a deep voice said behind me. I turned around and saw Marcus standing over there. The memories over there were painful for me as well. We shifted it to the basement, and I don't even go over there unless and until I have to, he said, and I could see the regret in his eyes. Luna was now whimpering and begging me to take him in my arms because he looked like he could start crying any moment now. Sophia, I am ready to apologize to you every day, but please just stop treating me so coldly. You don't want to have a relationship with me, that is okay, but let's just start over. Let's be friends or at least have good communication with me, he said. I felt like I should accept this offer. Okay, fine, I said to him. And then I asked, can I get trained along with the female warriors of this pack? Of course you can. If you want, I can train you personally, he said. There is no need for that. I will train with the rest of the women, I said, and was about to leave when he said, Sophia, tonight your grandparents are coming over for dinner along with my parents. I will take you to the training tomorrow, as today is a day off for all of us, he said, and then walked away as well. I just walked around a little bit more and then decided to go to my room as well. I opened the door and I realized it wasn't my room. Oh my God, it was Marcus's. But then suddenly I saw a huge photo framed on top of his bed. It was the photo I had taken at the Pack Doctor's house. He had framed it in a gold frame. Suddenly I smelled an amazing scent and the bathroom door opened. Marcus stood in front of me, shirtless. Luna started squealing in joy inside me and I knew I was staring at him, so I looked away. I'm sorry. I accidentally came in your room. It's all right. Relax, Sophia. Besides that, you are my mate. You can come over here anytime you want, he said with a smile. I looked at the picture once again and said, It is beautiful, isn't it? He asked. I did not reply but simply asked him, At what time have you invited my grandparents? Oh, at 8:30. I simply nodded. Can I ask you a question regarding the pack? Go ahead. Who were those kids I met in the garden? He took a deep breath and then said, You remember the year before I became the alpha of this pack there was a big rogue attack? Yes, it was horrifying. Well, the children you met in the garden were the kids of the warriors who died in that attack. I clapped my hand to my mouth. They were orphans. I felt like crying. They seemed really excited to meet me. I whispered, They were because after I took over the pack they became my responsibility and I moved them into the pack house. I try my best to interact with them and to be like a dad, but still, because I am an alpha and it is my responsibility to train them, sometimes I am a bit harsh on them and they are scared of me. My mom, who was the Luna, has tried her best to give them love and affection, but she is the ex-Luna. They were waiting for you as you are my mate. You see, a Luna is a symbol of strength and fierceness but also love, care, affection. So you are more like a mother to them. They were ecstatic to meet you, he said, and I felt a tightening in my heart. I would shower them with my love if that was what they wanted. I remembered being a girl their age and waiting for someone to appreciate me, dote on me, love me, hug me. I felt tears coming out of my eyes. Those little 5 to 6-year-old kids must have gone through so much. Looking at them made me want to be a better Luna. Marcus looked at me and said, Sophia, please don't feel sad. I am sure you will do your best for them. I nodded my head. Thank you, Marcus. I will go and get ready for the dinner. I will meet you then, I said, and he grinned at me. God damn it, why was he so handsome? I walked out of his room and took a deep breath. Maybe Marcus had really changed. I shook my head. Just because I agreed to communicate properly with him doesn't change anything between the two of us. I headed towards my room. I stood in front of the mirror and took a deep breath. This was my first day training. I was not only going to be taught to fight in my wolf form but also in my human form. I had my fighting gear on, which the maids had provided me in the morning. I hoped I would be one of the best fighters of the pack, just like my dad. I knew there was a long way to go, but I was ready for it. I heard a knock on my door and saw Iris standing over there, smiling. Ready to go, Miss Sophia? She said. I laughed and nodded. I could see that Owen and Marcus had already left for their training. We had separate sections in the pack for males and females to train. When I went over to the female section, I put on my fighting gear and began training. Let me tell you, it was amazing. I transformed into my wolf for the first time in many years and Luna was thrilled. I still had to practice a lot because I was a beginner, but the instructor said that I was doing quite well, even if it was my first day. But the one thing I liked the most was being with Iris. I was glad that she was Owen's mate and had come to the pack with me. Being with her, the training was a bit easier. I sweated a lot and was also very tired but still in high spirits. I was laughing and smiling while walking out of the changing room. I looked around and saw everyone bowing down to us as we were the Alpha and Beta's mates. But there was one person specifically glaring at us. It was none other than Victoria. She was bowing down as well, but at the same time had a look of disgust on her face. I was not surprised at all. She wanted to be Marcus's mate all her life. Before I had left the pack, she had already declared herself as the Luna of the pack. She always hated me, so it was not a surprise to see a scowl on her face. That is Victoria, isn't it? Iris suddenly asked me. How do you know? Yeah, well, she is my mate's sister, but no one in the pack really likes her. Owen told me that after you left, she tried to seduce Marcus, and he was really angry with her. He warned her to not come near him again. She tried her best even after that, but he rejected every single one of her advances. She actually thought you were never coming back, but you did, and so right now she is extremely jealous as well as angry. But she can't do anything about that. When I met her, I tried to be nice with her because even if Owen hates her, she is still his sister. But she called me a daughter of filthy rogues, Iris said with a scowl on her face. She hated anyone who talked bad about her parents. She would have beaten her up if she was not Owen's sister. I ignored Victoria's glares and walked ahead towards the exit. As I walked away, I saw the previous Luna talking to some people. The thing I found curious about her was that she didn't have the aura of a Luna, while our old Alpha still had his Alpha voice as well as his aura. While our Luna just looked like a normal werewolf, even her wolf size was not as big as a Luna's is. I thought I should ask someone about this. When we reached the pack house, I saw Owen just coming back from his training as well. Marcus was still training. We all quickly freshened up, and Iris left to visit her parents as they had called her. Owen was sitting next to me on the couch, relaxing a bit because lunch would be served soon, and immediately after that, he had to go and work with Marcus regarding pack matters in his office. He was surfing through the channels on the TV when I suddenly asked him, "Owen, is it okay if I talk about something, or rather ask something?" "Go ahead, Sophia. Don't ask for my permission." I asked him about our Luna, and his face suddenly went blank, but his eyes suddenly showed a tint of sadness. "Sophia, do you really want to hear this?" he asked, and I nodded. "Well, the reason you think like this about the old Luna is because she is not the real Luna, Sophia. She died on the same night and in the same attack in which your parents did." I gasped. What was Owen talking about? The real Luna, Marcus's mother, died along with my parents? I was shocked. "Oh, what?" I whispered. "Sophia, the pack was already having a rogue problem before they died, so no one was allowed to cross the pack boundaries for weeks. But one night the Alpha lost his cool and killed all of them, well, nearly all of them. 5 wolves escaped the attack and decided to take revenge on our pack, especially the leader of all the rogues whose name was Damien. So that night, when the Alpha had gone hunting into the forest with most of the warriors, very few of them and your dad stayed behind. So that night, when your parents were taking a walk, he suddenly attacked along with the rest of his gang. Your dad fought very bravely, but only him and 2 warriors were not enough and they got killed. As soon as the Luna heard about this, she rushed to the rescue from the pack and saved you. She fought bravely and got a lot of injuries and also managed to severely injure Damien. And by that time, the Alpha got there as well and helped in killing many rogues, but Damien got away that time as well. And also the saddest part was that our Luna succumbed to her injuries. She did not survive, Sophia," he said in a cracked voice as he was fighting back tears. He was obviously very close to our Luna. "But what about the Luna I saw all the time while growing up? Her entire pack died in a rogue attack as well. She was the Beta's daughter and the only survivor. The council asked our Alpha to mark the land as his as they needed an Alpha, and also to marry her to strengthen the bond between him and the remaining survivors of her pack, who were mostly a few warriors, she-wolves, and omegas. The Alpha did marry her, and Marcus did accept her as well, but he never really mated with her or marked her. So she just remained like that because she had lost her mate as well in her pack's attack. They were the Alpha and Luna, Sophia, but they were never really mates. She did try to blend in, but after all, she was not the real Luna. This was the reason, Sophia, why the pack desperately tried to find Marcus's mate and waited for her, because they wanted one," he said. "This is the reason why the Alpha treated me coldly?" I asked him. "He didn't mean to, Sophia. It's just that every single time he looked at you, he remembered his wife and his daughter." "His daughter?" I asked, shocked. Owen gulped and said nothing. "Please tell me, Owen. What about his daughter? He didn't have one, right?" I asked in a shocked voice. "The Luna was pregnant, Sophia, with a girl when she died," he said in a sad and quiet voice. And I felt like crying. I really didn't know how to react. The Alpha had gone through so much. He lost his mate and his unborn pup. Usually Alphas lose their sanity in cases like these, but despite that, our Alpha carried on. I felt a tear escape my eye. I looked at Owen, who looked sad as well. "I should have never told you this, Sophia." "It's all right, Owen. I had to know." He was about to say something when he suddenly kept quiet because Marcus entered the room. He smiled at me and simply left upstairs to get freshened up after his training. "Thank you, Owen," I said and left. The information I had got right now was too much for me to process. That night, I was not the only one who had lost someone precious. In a few days, the death anniversary of my parents was there, and I knew that along with paying respects to them, I had to pay respects to someone else as well. The Luna who had saved me, Marcus's mother. A few days later, I woke up that day feeling sad. Today was my parents' death anniversary. After 3 years, I was going to visit their grave and pay my respects. But today, along with them, I was going to find the Luna's grave as well. For a minute, I thought about Marcus. In our pack, There was a special burial ground where the previous alphas and lunas were buried. I never went over there because there was never a reason to. Yesterday, I had even asked Owen if anyone visited the luna's grave on her death anniversary. He said that some people did to pay their respects individually, but most didn't because it was just very painful for them. Besides that, no one except for the high-ranking officials of the pack was allowed to visit without the alpha's permission. But both Marcus and our ex-alpha were in their worst moods that day. But I was free to visit any time because I was the alpha's mate. That morning I went to my grandparents' place wearing a black dress and knocked on their door. They opened it but didn't say a word. They simply followed me to my parents' graves. We stood there silently for a moment. It was 3 years since I had visited my parents' graves. Before, I used to come here all the time and would cry my heart out. I would even talk with them in low whispers, telling them problems and how much I missed them, how angry I was at the moon goddess that she took them away before I could make any real memories with them. I wished they were still here with me. I kneeled down and put a bunch of roses of different colors in front of their graves. Roses were their favorite flowers. It was the reason why they named me Sophia Rose. I started crying again, hysterically. I couldn't stop the tears. That's when I felt a hand on my shoulder. I turned around and saw my grandparents who had tears in their eyes as well. "We miss them too, honey," my grandma whispered. Taking her support, I stood up, still sobbing. I leaned my head on Grandma's shoulder while Grandpa rubbed a hand on my back to comfort me. "All they ever wanted was to see you happy, Sophia," my grandma said. "And if they see you sad, then wherever they are, they will feel sad. They put your life before theirs because they loved you so much. It will hurt them if they see tears in your eyes," my grandpa said, even if he was crying as well. It must have been 10 times harder for them to witness their child being buried. After spending some time over there, we all left and I dropped them off to their place and gave them some much-needed space. It had been 18 or 19 years since they had gone to visit their daughter's grave. I went into my room and just sat on the bed, still sobbing just a little bit. I laid my head back and thought about my mom and dad. They wanted me to be safe and happy. I took a deep breath and stopped crying because I knew that up in the heavens, they were still watching me. I sighed and closed my eyes. Sometime later, I opened my eyes and blinked a couple of times. I can't believe I fell asleep. I looked at the watch and saw it was 1 p.m. I got out of the bed to change my clothes and changed into a comfortable hoodie and sweatpants. I didn't feel like going for training today. When I walked into the living room, I saw Iris setting the table for lunch. Ever since I had come into the pack, I had not gone into the kitchen even if I loved cooking. It reminded me of the old days. "Sophia," Iris said, "you are awake. Come and have lunch. We didn't wake you up because we thought you needed some time alone. You didn't even eat breakfast. Please eat the lunch." I sat down on the chair and then stared at my plate. Soon enough, Owen came to have his lunch as well. Iris went and sat beside him. They both had a serious look on their faces and were eating lunch silently. Marcus didn't come. I asked him. "No, after we paid respects to the Luna this morning, he went into training and has not left it. It's better if we leave him alone," Owen said. Soon the Gamma and his mate arrived. The old Beta arrived as well, but the old Alpha as well as Marcus were not there. Normally the dinner table was chirpy and everyone would be constantly talking something, but today no one spoke a word. After the lunch, everyone went to relax as no one was really in the mood to work today. I went to visit my grandparents again. They seemed okay and also had their lunch. The whole pack seemed solemn. As I walked around, I decided to go into the training arena. Marcus had been there for too long. But when I went over there, it was empty. I thought where he could be, and then I suddenly thought of our Luna's grave. I quietly went over there. I had never visited that particular place in my entire life. I saw Marcus over there. As I walked up to him, I heard sobs. I slowly put my hand on his shoulder and he turned around. His eyes were red, and there was a very sad and angry expression on his face. But as soon as he looked at me, his eyes softened. He hugged me very tightly. It was as if he was scared that I was going to vanish. I rubbed his back and said some consoling words in his ears. We broke the hug and I wiped his tears. I looked at the grave and slowly placed the flowers I had bought on it. I took Marcus's hand and started guiding him towards the pack house. When I looked at him, there was a blank expression on his face. He was just simply following me without even thinking. Thankfully, there was no one on the way back because most of the people were at their homes. The Luna's death anniversary was like an unofficial non-working day. Everyone would grieve her death. That's how much loved she was. When we reached the pack house, we went straight to his room. "Marcus, go take a shower," I said, taking some clothes out of his closet and handing them over to him. He simply nodded and went in the bathroom without speaking a word. I sat down on the bed, taking a sigh. This was the first time I had seen him in such a vulnerable position. When we both met again after 3 years, I just saw his eyes filled with water, but today I saw him crying. I couldn't imagine in my wildest dreams that an alpha like him, who was feared by nearly everyone in our species, had such a soft and vulnerable side to him. After a while he came out, drying his hair with a towel, wearing a dark gray t-shirt and black sweatpants. When he was gone, I had ordered some food for him from the kitchen because he had not eaten anything. "Marcus, come and eat something. I know you must be starving." He nodded and came and took the tray in his hands. We both sat down on the couch while I watched him eat. After he was done, I handed him a glass of water. He drank it and went and sat on the bed on its edge, leaning against the railing. He closed his eyes and seemed to be in deep thought. I just sat over there. Throughout the day, my wolf was requesting me to stay by his side as he needed me. And when I saw him today on the graveyard, I realized what they always said, that a touch from his mate calms down an alpha. I came to know it was true today. I mustered up my courage and walked up to him and put my hand on his shoulder. He opened his eyes and looked at me. I wanted to say a million things to him but couldn't find the exact words. He suddenly took hold of my hand and pulled me down and made me sit on the bed next to him. He put his head on my shoulder and said, "I hear her screams in my dreams, Sophia. Every night. When the attack happened, I was just 5 or 6 years old. I wanted to follow my mom, but she commanded me in her Luna voice to stay back at the pack house and lock the door. I hated it, but even from the distance I heard her painful growls. When on her deathbed, she made me promise that once I grew up, I would take care of the pack as well as love my mate unconditionally. I lost my mother and my angel sister both together," he said. His voice was sad even if he was not crying anymore. My wolf was howling inside me. It broke our heart to see him like that. He continued, "When I learned that night you were the only survivor and that Mom died saving you, I stupidly started blaming you for her death and bullied you. When I turned 18, I was impatient to find my mate, but when I didn't, I started acting even more arrogantly and harshly, only to find out 3 years later that you were the girl I had been waiting for all my life. It was only after you left and I became an alpha did I regain my senses. Today, if our pack is attacked, I am ready to even die fighting for my pack as long as it is safe," he said. "I have repeated it way too many times, but I will say it again. I regret our past, Sophia. When Mom died, my dad distanced himself from everyone, including me. He thought this all happened because he was not a good alpha. So to make me better than he was more harsh on me and threw himself into work. I knew he cared about me, but it was only on rare occasions that if you looked at us, you could say that we were a family. The only thing I looked forward to after I was 15 was my mate. Someone who would love me, nurture me, smile at me, and would just make my life a little bit more pleasant, because I had just lost all the softness in my life after Mom died. And after you left, I was afraid you were never coming back." I remembered my mom's words. I had totally failed as an alpha and also as a mate. People always say all the time there is nothing that I fear in this world, not even death, but there is only one thing I am afraid of. That is losing you. Afraid that one day you will leave and never come back, he said, and I felt tears in his eyes again. I ran my hand through his hair. Calm down. I'm right here right now, Marcus. Just relax now, I said. He made me lay down beside him and put his arm around my waist tightly. Stay here tonight, Sophia. Please. I need you, he whispered in my ear. I was a little bit surprised. This was the first time I was so close to him, but I knew that he needed me. So I adjusted myself on the bed and eventually fell asleep as well, next to him, with him holding me. I woke up in the morning to see Sophia sleeping next to me with my arm around her waist. I smiled. Yesterday, when I was at my worst, she consoled me and took care of me. I was glad that she was opening up to me even if it was slow. It was worth it. My wolf was purring in satisfaction by having his mate so near. I tightened my hold around her, sniffing her wonderful scent. I really wanted to kiss her and mark her, but I held back and closed my eyes. After a while, she woke up, and we both looked straight into each other's eyes. First she looked drowsy and confused, but then suddenly her eyes widened. She tried to get up, but with our hands and legs tangled, she could not. I immediately shifted aside to give her space. She got up and looked confused and gave me a weird expression. I should leave, she said, and immediately left. I didn't stop her. Last night was the first time we were this close to one another. I knew she must be feeling awkward and confused. I was happy to be this close to her and actually did not want her to get away from me. But I realized that she might be uncomfortable being this close to me. Holding her hands and running my fingers through her hair was fine, but getting this close to her if she was not comfortable was not good. I had told her that I would wait for her. She was my queen, my Luna. I would only be this intimate with her when she is ready and tells me so. Until then, I will wait, falling more deeply in love with this amazing girl I have for a mate. I looked up at her picture which was above my bed, hoping that someday I could replace it with a picture of the two of us, smiling. Having that thought, I got up from my bed to get ready to begin my day. 6 months later. 6 months later. Everything was great, amazing, beautiful. I had now moved into Marcus's room from mine. It felt great to cuddle with him after a long hard day in the bed. We both sometimes had dates right in our room, where we both would cook together, or sometimes he would take me out to an expensive restaurant or some movie. We even had double dates with Iris and Owen. The frame above his bed, which only had my picture, now had a picture of our first date. It was so beautiful and brought a smile on my face every single time I saw it. My most favorite time was when we would just cuddle together for hours. I also knew he loved it. That night, after we came into our room, I could see that he was nervous about something, like he really wanted to say something to me. "Want to go outside with me to the garden?" he asked. "Sure," I said to him. When we finally reached, he took me by the hand and led me to our tree. We both touched it and it turned golden now that we were mated. The sight was beautiful. "Remember this spot?" he asked. "Yes, this was where we had our first kiss," I said, blushing a little bit. "Sophia, you always ask me what made me fall in love with you, apart from the mate bond. The truth was that it was simply you being you. Your true self is what makes me fall for you every single time I look at you. An alpha is strong when he has an even stronger Luna by his side. Today, our pack is one of the best in the world because of you as well. You make me want to be a better man, alpha, son, mate every single day. I love you, Sophia. You are an amazing, honest, kind, strong woman that I am lucky to have as a mate, and I remind myself to thank the moon goddess every single day. I love how you care about little things. I love how you accept everyone lovingly, and I love how you stand strong during the tough times. I am absolutely happy that every single day when you smile, I am the reason behind at least one of them. I want to make you smile every single day for the rest of my life. I want to wake up next to you every single day. I want you to stand by my side and help me serve this pack better. Sophia, my Luna, my mate, my love, will you do me the absolute honor and make me the happiest man in the world? Will you marry me?" he said while getting down on his one knee. I had tears in my eyes. He opened the box and inside was a beautiful ring. "Yes. Yes, I will marry you," I said with a huge smile. Marcus grinned widely and put the ring on my finger. Getting up, he gave me a kiss. "I love you, Sophia," he said, wiping my tears and leaning his forehead against mine. "I love you too, Marcus." 1 month later. It was the big day in the pack. Everyone was busy. Many alphas and their mates from other packs were invited as well. It was Marcus and Sophia's wedding day. After everyone was seated, Marcus arrived at the church along with his groomsmen, Owen and Alpha Gabriel. His father was seated on the first row, looking at him proudly and had a few tears in his eyes which he tried to hide. Sophia's grandma was seated in the front row as well, and she was wiping her tears. She knew her daughter and her son-in-law were happy today, wherever they were, to see their little girl getting married. The music began and Iris and Claire, who were the bridesmaids, came in. Finally, it was time for Sophia to come in and everyone stood up. She was holding a bouquet of roses in her hands while she walked down the aisle along with her grandfather, who seemed to be crying as well. When she approached Marcus and looked into his eyes, she felt renewed again, like the most beautiful girl in the world. Seeing her, Marcus saw his future walking towards him. His wife, the mother of his children, the woman he wanted to grow old with. He felt tears stinging his eyes and he let them freely fall. They both held each other's hands. The priest asked Sophia first, "Do you, Luna Sophia, take Alpha Marcus to be your lawfully wedded husband, to have and to hold, through sickness and through health, for richer or for poorer, till death do you part?" "I do," she said with tears in her eyes. When the same was asked to Marcus, he replied, "I do," before the priest even completed, making everyone giggle a bit. "You may now kiss the bride," was said, and Marcus took Sophia in his arms and gave her a gentle kiss while everyone cheered. "My Luna," he whispered. "My Marcus," she whispered back while they both smiled at each other. They were husband and wife now. Epilogue years later. Marcus and Sophia were now proud parents to 2 kids, Nathan and Isabella. Nathan was 2 years older than Isabella. Sophia's grandparents still lived in the pack and would now help in farming and gardening while helping to look after their great-grandchildren. Marcus's father was now a very fun grandfather. He absolutely loved spending time with his family and occasionally helped Marcus in his work as well. His wife, the previous Luna, and him both could never get over their mates and decided that they both were better off as friends. They both now lived in separate rooms but still enjoyed each other's company and helped around the pack. They were happy now. Iris and Owen had 2 kids of their own, Ethan and Grace. Grace was the older one and was a year younger than Nathan, and Ethan was the younger one and was a year older than Isabella. They were all best friends. Marcus and Sophia were now becoming an example around the world for various alphas and lunas. Theirs was one of the first packs where the Luna had her own office and could exercise the same authorities and powers an alpha could. So could the beta and his mate. Marcus now loved every bit of his life. He was truly happy now. With Sophia by his side, he had expanded the pack house now, and the pack was now flourishing even more. Every single night, he thanked the moon goddess for his life and for his wife. She changed him for the better. His Luna, his mate, his love, his Sophia. The end.